Hi everyone, this is Clare Callison and I'm the Maddie's Canine Lifesaving Advisor for American Pets Alive. I just wanted to do a pretty quick video about adoptions, hopefully get some ideas going. If you're struggling on trying to, you've seen the ideas out there, you've read the protocols, but just visualizing what that would look like and troubleshooting what that actually looks like for your organization. On the AMPA Rescue and Support page, I am really impressed seeing all of the different creative outlets that you all have been doing. So we'll go through some of those and hopefully be able to answer your questions. Of course, after this video, you can email me or post it on the rescue and shelter support page. So I'm just gonna share a few slides with you to get started. So hopefully it can be a little bit of a helpful visual. Okay, so with this pandemic that's happening right now, we are really having to revamp our entire process. I know many organizations are in the same boat, so everything that you've been doing for the last, 5, 10, 20 years, kind of out the window at this point. So it can be uncomfortable and very overwhelming and stressful, but just know that we are in it together. So one of the things that I wanted to go over is just the common roadblocks that exist in adoptions, and they're really becoming apparent now because if any of you have done a press release or have you posted on social media to engage your community, you might be facing the challenge of being overwhelmed with the number of people that are trying to help right now, which is a great problem to have, but really looking at your process. So we know that there's common roadblocks in adoption process, but they really become apparent now when you've got so many people wanting to help and you have to get them through as fast as possible. So this really is a game of volume, just making sure that you're helping people as fast as possible and also moving out your dogs and cats from your shelter as quickly as possible, but also making sure everyone stays safe and you're being responsible at the same time. So common roadblocks that should be out the window at this point. You just don't have time for it. We know that studies have shown that these checks are not actually providing they're not increasing pet retention, and they're not increasing sort of the quality of homes or finding good homes out there. These checks are really just been a waste of time for so many years. So looking at home checks, vet checks, landlord checks, so calling vets, calling landlords, requiring a meet and greet for every single dog and cat. So if they have a resident dog and you have a dog that you're trying to adopt out or send to foster, requiring no questions asked, everyone bring all of their pets or all their dogs in for meet and greet. For some of your dogs that have been super social or you have foster notes on them or they've done well in playgroup, you don't necessarily need to require that extra step of someone coming onto your property, because you know that having more people, that increases the chance and the risk of this virus. So it's a better tactic, or we recommend giving people the tools to go home to set them up for success versus trying to do so many checks at the shelter with their own dogs. The same goes with, we're really trying to get the people traffic down, because that's the biggest risk. And so that old kind of requirement of making everyone in the family, all the kids, all the adults in the family, roommates, everyone be present for the time of adoption is really not the safest option right now. And so you really are just providing education at this point to set people up for success. Also, if your application, this is a really good opportunity to just get that under control, get that down. So if you've got, a 4-page application, or you have, multiple questions on there, really getting that down and turning your application into more of a questionnaire. So you're really asking about 4 to 5 basic questions. You're having more of a conversation, trying to get rid of that lengthy paperwork piece and just getting to the necessities of what you really need to know to make the best match. And then, of course, long adoption wait times, that's going to be probably the biggest challenge right now for all of us. And then if you have a list of inquiries and then people wanting to help, but there's a really long wait time of when you get back to them. So if it's more than 24 hours, you've got some volunteers hopefully that maybe aren't coming to dog walks necessarily, but that are working from home, that could help you possibly with some of this admin piece. So if that is training them real quick with a video tutorial of how to respond to these inquiries, so that everybody that's wanting and that's willing to help is getting a quick response back, so they're not like getting contacted in a week from now. The other thing too we want to talk about is just the conversation. So when I talked about getting your application down, turning it into a questionnaire just to ask those basic questions, again, our thought is that the people that are stepping up to help right now in this crisis really need to view them as they're doing a good deed for us. They are good people, and they don't have sort of ill will or bad intentions towards our organization or the dogs or cats that they're trying to adopt. So our goal is not to weed out people at this point. It's just trying to find the best match for them, and then providing education, of course, as well. So when we look at our questions, we're really just coming from a place of yes. We are assuming that they're going to take a dog or cat home today. It's just we got to get some questions answered to figure out who's going to be the best match. So that takes out all that sort of policing, the interrogation kind of feeling of an adoption process that might still be there. Get rid of that and embrace a conversation. So these are just the 5 questions that I think would be most relevant. Of course, you can edit this and make it fit for your organization, but getting an idea of what their home setup is like. So where do they live? Is it an apartment? Is it a house? Do they have a fence or not? Again, you know, people that live in apartments can take large dogs. That shouldn't be a barrier. We know that many people in apartments actually are providing more exercise for their larger dogs than people in homes sometimes, because in apartments you have to walk them. So let that not be a policy for them. Also, you want to get a gauge of who they're sharing their home with. Is it other dogs, cats, children? Do they have, you know, other family members, roommates? So just, you know, trying to get a gauge of how high traffic their home is and try to make an appropriate match that way. And then asking them what they're looking for in a dog or cat. That kind of ties into the last question there too. But for cats, you know, are they looking for a kitten or an adult cat, or are they willing to take a senior? I know it's silly questions, but, you know, personality, color, you know, what is important to them? Dogs, you know, small dog, medium, large dog. Are they looking, this ties into the last question, are they looking for a running buddy or someone to cuddle with or work from home friend, and just trying to make the best match possible. And then, of course, providing some education and setting people up for success around where the pet will be kept during the day, inside or outside, in a crate. So just trying to provide education around that. Again, we're not doing home checks or calling landlords to figure out what their home setup is. We're really we're going to have to rely on the conversation. I know some organizations, they have a goal to keep this entire process when they're, you know, either doing a virtual meet and greet or over the phone or over email, trying to keep it down under 30 minutes so that it's just pretty quick. We're going to get you the right fit as best we can, and we're getting rid of all those unnecessary checks and questions that have been kind of roadblocks of the past. Some solutions that we've been seeing, which is really exciting because it's real time. And if you all have other solutions that you have been putting into place that seem successful that others could benefit from, definitely share with us on the Facebook group. But we're seeing organizations have a lot of good luck now because they can't rely necessarily on heavy adoption traffic and people walking through their kennels, but instead relying on Facebook Live or doing daily videos and just walking through the kennels or taking dogs out into play yards, showing your cats off in the shelter and highlighting a few of them or maybe all of them. So people can get, you know, from their home, they can get an actual idea and a picture of the dogs and cats. They can see the faces in front of them. And then it's interactive, so you can start answering questions right on Facebook Live. So that's been a really big tool that organizations have been putting into place, which I think is great. Virtual meet and greet. So if they're interested in a dog, they want to know a little bit more from just maybe what the photo and the bio shows them online, you could schedule an appointment where you do a virtual meet and greet. So you could do a video with that dog or cat and be just either FaceTime or through Zoom or Skype, whatever you can do to try to get the interaction and a little bit more of that meet and greet experience for that potential adopter without physically having to be at your shelter. Probably the most common what we're seeing right now is appointment-based adoptions. So you don't have a crowd of people out front of your shelter scheduling them whether it be 30-minute blocks or 60-minute blocks, whatever it is, just making sure that if people are still allowed to come to your organization, come to your shelter, that you can see them, but just having appointments. And then drive-through foster adoptions when they're actually picking up or maybe even processing, going into a more open air, so outside in a play yard or a parking lot, somewhere safe where you're not all crowded in a room breathing on each other, and doing it outside and actually facilitating in-car pickup. So we've seen that work really well. This is a photo that Sarah from Pima Animal Care Center shared on our Facebook group. I thought this was really good for you all to see the different stations where people could come for reclaiming a pet, meeting a dog, meeting a cat. That way people aren't congregating in huge lines, and that you can see they've had a setup here outside. So no matter what you do, just making sure that you are looking at your process and trying to streamline it as best as possible. So that's going to be really important right now, that you're making it as easy as possible for people to help you, that you are responding quickly to inquiries for people to help, and don't be afraid to try new things and use the group to figure out ways that other people are finding success in copying that at your organization. So it's really important right now to meet people where they are, and really just have good, constructive conversations, providing education for them, less policing of adopters. And the goal is, again, coming from a place of yes. It's not a matter of you can't get a dog or you can get a dog. It's we are going to get you a dog or a cat today, whether it be you're a foster or an adopter, and just really allowing your community to step up, because we're seeing they are coming out of the woodwork, even in communities where we didn't think it was possible, or we weren't getting a lot of responses in the past. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the group or reach out to me over email or on Facebook. We're here for you. We know it's tough times, but so thanks so much for watching this, and let us know if you need anything at all. Thanks so much.